And today we're going to talk about chapters 21 to the end in Island of the Blue Dolphins by Scott Odell. So this is a Newbery medal winning book, so it's a really awesome book, and I hope that you enjoy. I like survival stories, and I think that this counts as a survival story sort of, so I like this. So let's just dive in right into chapter 21, because let's not waste any time and just dive in, okay? So we already see the Aleuts have come, right? Just when the Aleuts have come, right? Did you think that the Aleuts were gonna like try to get Corona, and did you think that Corona was in danger, or did you think that Corona was just gonna escape and she was gonna be perfectly fine? I mean, Corona might be in some danger, but I didn't think that she was in like high risk of danger, because I know that Corona can survive and she can probably escape if she wants to, right? She can, yeah, I think so. And so now, do you think that the Aleuts, in your opinion, do you think that the Aleuts are a big threat, like on a scale of 1 to 10? Like 1 is like not at all, they're as scary as ants, and 10 is like they're definitely gonna kill or capture Corona. Like, what do you think that is? I'll say 5, right? They're not harmless, but they're not like that like much of a threat either, because they aren't that scary if you can just avoid them. So now, if you have been Corona, do you think that you would have had the courage to just walk around, or do you think that you would have just been shivering and just be hiding in your cave and doing nothing? I wouldn't be hiding in my cave, but I would still be really scared, and I'll be cautious, but I wouldn't be hiding. Yes, definitely not that. Now, do you think that the Aleuts are too close, because they're only less than half a league? That's not much. So do you think that they're too close, or do you think it's good? And it's like I'm doing all these questions. They're sort of related to each other, but they're all sort of all different. What do you think about that? And now we also are going to talk about a girl, right? The girl. And so there was the girl, so I'm actually going to talk more about that, because I think that after this we are going to really meet this girl, right? Because we've all read this whole book, right? And so we're going to talk about the girl. Do you think that the girl, I don't know why I'm emphasizing the word the girl, but it's just fun. But the girl here, right? Do you think that she's gonna like tell on Corona? Do you think that she's gonna be a big tattletale, or do you think that that's not gonna work, and that and that the girl is not gonna say anything, and that they're gonna be friends? Like, just from that, what do you think is gonna happen here? And now, another question I have for you is, do you think that Corona here is more afraid by like the Aleut men, or the girl, or what do you think that she's most afraid about? I think the girl, because the girl is sort of like a scout, and not a scout, but if she finds Corona, well, who knows what will happen, right? We have no idea what is gonna happen, and what will happen. That might be really, really, really bad, right? If the Aleuts are still led by Captain Orlov, what do you think might happen? Just use your imagination. My imagination is like really scary at times. Like, it goes into every detail. So now I'm imagining them shackling Corona or something. Like, like tying Corona. Okay, I'm not gonna think any more about that, because it's just really creepy in my opinion. But before we keep on going on, I just wanted to talk about the whole book in general. So Corona has been alone for so long, right? So long, and if you have been alone for that long, to see other humans, just other humans, even if they're bad, okay, just other humans, how do you think that would feel to, in such a long time, you suddenly see these humans? It's sort of new to you, right? Well, not new, but it's been such a long time. I'll give you an example, okay? It's like, let's say that you read a book, okay? You know, I like books, so I just did a book one. Let's say that you read, let's see if I can think of any book. Ah, yes, what about this book? What about this book? It is The Mysterious Bending Society and the Perilous Journey, okay? You read this book, okay? You read, so you're like, oh my, and you read and read, okay? And then after you read, you're like, okay, I finished this book, I finished awesome book here, and so you're like, okay, I read it, and you're like, just you put it away, okay? You can even hear the thump. And now, so now, years later, you're like, ugh, I don't know what I'm gonna find. Hey, what about this book? And you get the same book, okay? And you read it again. So how this is similar is that Corona had a family, right? And just was around with other people, right? That would be like me reading the book the first time. And then she was sort of, well, of course, the family left for the mainland, right? Because of the white men and because of the loots. And then so that would be like me being like, oh, I read it, and this being right. But then this loots coming. Well, of course, Corona didn't choose for the loots to come in. She didn't like necessarily pick up the book or try to get the loots to come. But my point here is that she makes people again, right? And that's a really big topic because, like, how do you think that she's gonna get along with people after she's been like deprived of people for like now years, right? It says it's been a long time after she's seen any human, right? Rama was the last one, and then Ramo died like 2 days later, right? And 2 days later after the ship left. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about that for a minute, and I think that's a really important. Yeah, how would you feel? Just describe it. And you can also do a simile, but I'm gonna go into depth of that more later. But not right now. You don't have to do one. But let me do. I would feel like cautious, but also excited at the same moment. Like there's like humans again, even if they're only the loose side. There's humans, which is good. And I would still be a little cautious, but mostly I'd be happy that there were at least humans around. Now, do you think that Corona, I'm going to talk about Corona's life. Do you think that Corona is living a good, awesome life, or do you think that she's living a bad, poor life? What do you think? I was just curious. I think that she's living a good life. I mean, she's not starving, right? She has a good house. Ron too. She's having good food. I think that she's in a good place. And now, do you think that? Now let's see. Yes. Do you and then we also talk about this cormorant feather, right? Cormorant feather skirt. It's really beautiful, right? And let's see. What do you think that it represents? It might not represent anything to you. Some people say that it doesn't. Some people say it does. But in your opinion, what do you think it represents? And then that is when the girl comes. And that is time for a drum roll, okay? Get your imaginary drums and let's do a drum roll. The thing is, I have a power because, I'm a YouTuber. I have at least this power, okay? To do a good drum roll, okay? Let's see who's the best drum roll. Got anything? Just do this if you want, okay? Let's see who gets the best drum roll. Here's my drum. You can't see it, but okay. Here's my drumsticks. Ready, set. Who did better, in your opinion? And it really is really like a drum roll, right? Because the girl comes and immediately they think that girl was trouble and that Karana was gonna have to tie the girl up and make her swear that she wasn't gonna say. Or did you think that the girl was gonna be like, hey, what did you think? Of course, I didn't think that girl was gonna like, hey, and be so friendly. But I don't know. I'm pretty sure at least Karana wouldn't have to tie her up. Not that, but still, I was pretty scared, nervous. How did you feel when you were reading, and how do you think that Karana felt? And actually, let's use our first simile for the day, okay? Of course, before you could have also done a simile, but for the people who didn't, or the people who just need a quick review, let me just explain what a simile is. Well, of course, you know what a simile is, right? How to use a simile. This is a two-step process. Number one, just identify what the character is feeling, and then turn that into a simile. So how you turn that into a simile, that is pretty easy actually. It's like if you're angry, then you could say, I felt as if someone kicked me. You hurt, mad, and scared. Well, maybe not scared, but mad. You'll be like revengeful, right? All there's a few things that would sort of go into the category of mad, right? Or just negative feelings in general. And I think that you could use that, right? So, what about you? Okay. And then when the girl came, right? Why didn't Rontu walk towards the girl? Probably because Rontu isn't a lewd dog, right? But when Karana called Rontu back, Rontu came back, right? So, but then, anyway, do you think that the girl looks friendly? Do you think that she's dangerous? I don't think so. After I begin to learn more about her, I think that her name is Tutalk, right? Her name is Tutalk. And so this girl is trying to sort of like strike up a relationship, right? But with Karana, do you think that Karana is going to trust her? And if you had been Karana, would you have trusted her? Or would you be like, oh no, you go away. You out of my territory. Out of my island. Do you think that you would have said that? But, well, Karana was still a little cautious at first, but do you understand why? Yeah, definitely. I would have also been a little cautious, but I think that I would have let my guard down after a little. And so, do you think that the friendliness is just an act though, and that really the girl just wants to get Karana and tie her up or something? What do you think? Or do you think that it's like a real genuine friendship? And if so, then why do you think so? I mean, it could be a good act. Why didn't that think that it's just a good genuine friendship? Well, I can't really prove it, but just how Scott Odell writes it, it just seems like that, and I think so. I just think so. And if you think about it, it just really does, right? The girl wouldn't have really commented about the cornman's skirt a lot. Like, she would have said Winston once, and then that would have been it. But she says it multiple times, which really emphasizes her point. And but then anyway, Karana goes away, sort of, right? Or at least, but then when she comes back, there's a necklace, right, of black stones of a kind that she had never seen. And who do you think put it there? And why do you think that person put it there? This is actually, you can do a whole writing about it. I've actually done this before. But what about you? Why? And why do you think that person put it? Like, what's proof? Okay, let me go into my speech. Number one, I think it's Tutalk, because Tutalk really wants to be friends with Karana, right? It seems like that. And really, you can see this from a lot of points of the book, right? She says a lot of that it's really pretty, and that she even tries to touches Karana, right? She touches Karana, and she also really smiles a lot. And it said, in one sentence was this: she came over to me and touched my arm. Now, Like, do you go around touching people, or like, let's touch, and do you like touch? Unless like you're hugging, or maybe you're doing like, I don't know, like a secret handshake, or maybe you're doing tag. You don't like go up to a stranger and touch him, right? You are like touch, right? Especially with the COVID-19 virus going on, which hopefully by the time you watch the video has blown over and is now in the past, but right now it's in the future, so that's pretty bad. Yeah, and really, I think that just touching at times, it just sort of maybe relaxes, soothes, and you don't do it to strangers, like, unless you want to become friends. I mean, that's a friendly gesture, right? Unless you're like, you're touching, like you touch like this, that's hitting. So, unless that, okay? Then you have to call it hitting. But this is not hitting, right? And besides, it says a necklace of black stones that she had never seen, right? She's like a wilderness survival expert. Like, how can she not know that kind of stone? It definitely means that it comes from another place, like where the loots come from, right? And yeah, I think that is my evidence. And I could probably think of more, but that's just my quick evidence, okay? What about you? Maybe I just sold it all away, but hopefully you paused it before you listened. Now, I think that we have actually done a really good job for chapter 21. And what about we go to chapter 22? But I have a question. Do you think that this is going to be like the beginning of a friendship, or do you think that it's not going to be at all, and that it's not going to be the beginning of a friendship whatsoever, and you should just forget the whole idea? Not that, but I think so. I think so, maybe, right? Who knows? Now, let's go to chapter 22. And why did that Karana didn't touch that necklace? If you have a Karana, would you have touched it? Of course, I'm like, wow, cool, and I put it on. That I mean, even though I'm a boy, you know, like this Hawaii necklaces? I really want one, but and my mom was about to buy me one, but man, we just forgot that. We just forgot it because we were so busy packing to go back. It's so annoying. Ugh. But I'm not going to go into the details of that. Besides, do you think that you can just envision the stones though? I can. And what do you think that this shows about Scott O'Dell's writing style? It really just shows you everything in your mind, which is a good, yeah, and that I think that's a good thing that all authors should have. Now, and then the girl came, right? And so, do you think that after this, it really sealed their friendship really at this time? Yeah. And do you think that like Wintai and Winsha, like they're sort of related, right? Do you think that this like like a coincidence or not? Well, I know that like languages, like for example, English has Latin and Greek roots because it actually originated. I know you're like, what? But actually, Latin and Greek roots, languages originated from Latin and Greek roots, and those languages, they were like and from those languages, like from the languages that that originated from Latin and Greek, more languages originated, right? And then from those, more. So and like only a few roots, but still, like English started in Latin and Greek, right? So maybe this is the same too, right? Who knows? We actually will never know. Well, maybe we will. You know, scientific analysis and stuff. And so, do you think that why do you think that Karana didn't give Tutok her real name, and just, you know, like the cover name, you know, which means the girl with the long black hair, you know, like Wanapale. I hope I'm saying that right. Wanapale. And so, why do you think so? Well, think back. When they first met the Alus, you know, Karana's father, Chief Chow, he gave his real name, right? His secret name, and you're not supposed to use it too much. And because he gave his secret name, that's why they lost. Do you think that's it or not? Not it. I'm pretty sure, secret name or not, the Indians would have lost. No offense. I'm just saying, okay? But and I have a question. Do you think that your name is too overused? I mean, like, do you think that Jade is too overused? Or if if your name is John or Polly or Sarah or Joe, or I don't know, maybe your name is Luke, or maybe your name is Isaiah. My point is here that do you think that your name is too overused? Not really. I mean, Jaden is my name, but if you had to do a secret name, what would it be? I don't really want a secret name. Jaden fits me. Like this shirt fits me. Which, it fits me fine. See? Fits me fine. Yeah. Of course, this shirt is I'm gonna outgrow it soon, but my name I'm not gonna outgrow. Like, it's like a shirt that grows along with me. And then, the next day when Two Talk came, right? It said this. Two Talk came again the next day. We sat on the rock in the bright sun, trading words and laughing. The sun went fast in the sky. The time came soon when she had to leave, but she returned on the day that followed. It was on this day when she was leaving when I told her my secret name. Karana, I said, pointing to myself. She repeated the word, but she did not understand what it meant. Wanna play, she said, frowning. I shook my head, pointing to myself. I said, Karana. Her eyes opened wide. Slowly, she began to smile. Paise no, Karana, she said. And so, I'm actually going to read a little on, okay? And because I think it'll give us more clues. That night, I began to make a gift for her in return for the necklace she'd given me. At first, I thought I would give her a pair of my bone earrings, but remembering that her ears were not pierced and I had a basket of abalone shells already flaked into thin discs, I set about making a circlet for her. Anyway, so like she made it and all that. But really, if you go back, the day after next, right? Karana revealed her full name, right? And so why do you think that Karana did? Because she really trusts Two Talk, right? Like it said this. Two Talk came the next day. We sat on the rock in the bright sun, trading words and laughing. The sun went fast in the sky. The time soon came when she had to leave, but she returned the next day followed. So it just sees, it's just, they're having a good time, right? And Karana really begins to trust Two Talk, right? Which I think is why she said her name. What about you? What do you think? Why? And if you had a secret name, and maybe you do, I have no idea. Then, if you had a secret name, do you think that you would have revealed it to Two Talk, like firsthand, or would you have said it after a while, or would you have not said it at all? I think that I would have said it after a while, but first I wouldn't say anything, and then I would have said it when I fully trusted her, like Karana here. And so, so who is it? Yes, Two Talk had to go, right? What did you think about this? But were you not that surprised when Two Talk had to go? Well, Two Talk had to go sometime. I knew that, so I wasn't that surprised, but still, I was pretty sad. What about you? Were you sad? Well, Karana was sad, right? And I was pretty sad too. But maybe what's a theme that we can learn from this is that real life is unfair. That's one that people can do, but I'm not gonna do that. But really, what about at times life is hard, and that is hard, right? Now, chapter 23. So, do you think that you could stand watching those wounded otter? I would be like, you know, it's like if you well, actually, I'm not gonna go into the details but I would have at least tried to help them, you know. And then we see this otter, right? And so, do you think that this otter is going to be a good friend, even though it's just an otter? And do you think that the otter and Karana now have sort of like a bond? I think so, right? I think it is a bond. And then suddenly the pool was deserted, right? And do you think it was because like the otter didn't like Karana, or do you think it was just because Karana oh, I forgot. Or do you think that it was just that he had to go back, not Karana's fault? I think that he just had to go back, right? He has to go sometime. And so do you think that Karana will meet this otter again? I didn't think so, but they do, right? And then so the Alus have really left, and so do you think that the Alus leaving is now a good thing? I mean, back then it would be a good thing, but now do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing? It's not bad, but it's not good either, right? At least because of Two Talk and all. I think that it's not a good thing necessarily. Not a bad thing, but not a good thing either. And can you describe this, like how you didn't like something, now you like it? Have you ever had that? Well, I hated one book I was reading at first, but that was one of my all-time favorite books. It was actually out of my mind, that book. I don't know. At first, I really didn't like it. I have no idea why. Now it's my favorite book. It really changes. Now for chapter 24, right? And so now let's go to spring. And so, what's your favorite season and why? And do you like label a season like Karana? Spring is like the time of flowers. Like, what's your favorite season and what is the time of? Like, mine has to be summer. It's hot here, but no school. It's the best. So it's the time of freedom. Besides, that was when that was when we got freedom, right? The United States. Remember, George. We got free, July 4th. So, I think that, it makes sense. It's the time of freedom, joy, happiness, celebrations, all of them. And, and then we also have these, these new baby birds, right? Do you like baby birds or just birds in general? And do you think that Karana's friendship with these birds was worth it? Pretty sure, because they're so cute, right? So cute. And I have another question. Who was it? Yes. We see Monani again, right? And then we learned that that Monani is a girl. So now her name changes to Wonani, right? And I see that girl in this language is Won, right? Won. I just learned that, right? Because like Karana's name is like Wanapale or something, and like Won, girl with the black hair, girl, right? So I think that girl, that Won means girl. I have to think about that now. Did you realize that? I didn't actually write until right now. I'm not kidding. And so, I have another question, and well, my question here is, what do you think that maybe Scotlandale is trying to express with otters and birds and Rontu and just the island itself? What do you think he's trying to express? I think that maybe that nature's so beautiful, right? Isn't it beautiful, those otters swimming around and birds born and Rontu? And I think that it's just really beautiful, right? And so because of all of her friendships, it said this. She said, after that summer, after being friends with Wonani and her young, I never killed another otter. I had an otter cape for my shoulders, which I used until it wore out, but never again did I make a new one. Nor did I ever kill another cormorant for its beautiful feathers, though they have long, thin necks and make ugly sounds when they talk to each other. Nor did I kill seals for their sinews, instead using kelp to bind the things that needed it. Nor did I kill another wild dog, nor did I try to spear another sea elephant. Ulap would have laughed at me, and others would have laughed too, my father most of all. Yeah, this is the way I felt about the animals who had become my friends and those who were not, but in time could be. If Ulap and my father had come back and laughed, and all the others had come back and laughed, I would still have felt the same way. For animals and birds are like people too, though they do not talk the same things, the same or do the same things. Without them, the earth would be an unhappy place. So, because of those friends, right? her behavior changes. Have you ever had that? It doesn't have to be friends, but maybe it could be friends, but it doesn't have to be friends. Like just because of one event, one thing, now your whole idea changes about something. Okay, now chapter 25. Oh yes, and if that question was, the last question was a little too hard, then like has your opinion ever changed? Because, and you can just do that because in the end there must have been some reason, right? But now, chapter 25 here. So here, I wanted to talk about Ron 2's death because that's really what chapter 25 was about. It was sad. And did you think that it was sad on like a scale to 1 to 10? I was like 10 for me. It was really sad for me. Now, when Karana said like it was late in summer when Ron 2 died. Just when she said that, did you know that something bad was gonna happen? Yeah, just like Ron 2 dying, that means that something bad happened. At least I imagined that, right? And then so why did Ron 2 bark to get out anyway? What do you think so? And then so when she followed her tracks, he was lying in the back of the cave, right? What do you think happened? Like he's just like lying so still. Why do you think that this happened? No wounds, right? Why? Well, what was your prediction? Because actually nothing really comes out. Like we have to guess. I think it's probably because like he's old, right? My neighbor's dog died because he was like really, really old. Really old. Let me just tell you, really old. And dogs do die, right? I mean, Ron 2, who knows? Or maybe it was because he has some kind of germ or something in his body, right? It's all guessing, but I suspect that. I think it's like, maybe it's just, yeah, maybe, hopefully he just died naturally, right? And so, do you think that in Ron 2, there's no hope for Ron 2? And so, it said that Ron 2 was really like something already had gone out of him. What do you think really gone out of him? Like, sort of like life. I mean, he sort of was still alive, but barely, right? Most of his life was gone. And even though, I mean, that's not, like, scientifically, of course, life or no life, weight will be the same. At times, science ruins things. Just kidding. But I mean, like, the magic sort of gets stripped away with science. I mean, for example, like trees turning colors, right? That is just like magic. But with science, it just sort of, I know, it's still amazing, but I think that you know what I mean. It just strips the magic away. And here, Ron 2, at times, I think that the real science, right, of it really doesn't matter when at times there is magic. Like Ron 2 here, it's like something was already like something had already gone out. Why did Scott Odell added this anyway? Well, because it was important, right? Because besides Karana, Karana has suffered a lot, but I think that still this was really needed. And I think that I really will, it's a really important part, even though it's sad. What do you think? Do you think it's an important part, or do you think it's just a sad part, and the Scott Odell shouldn't have added it? It's a sad part, but yeah, I think that is important. And do you think that Karana's life is a good life or not? Well, she has a good life, but it's so sad. I mean, look at this. Before the book, Karana's mom died. After that, Karana's father died, right? And lots of other people in the tribe. Then everybody went away except for Ron 2, and Ramo, and then Ramo died, you know? And then because killed by the wild dogs, and go along a little, and then now Ron 2 is dead. I think that's a little unfair. Right? That is unfair in my opinion. And do you think that any child should experience this much death before? No, definitely not. Okay, now chapter 26, right? And so now, why do you think that Ron 2's son will ever be able to replace Ron 2 or not? What do you think? Well, Rontu-san will never be like Rontu, but he'll be a good person. I mean, a good dog. And if you had been Karana, how would you have tried to get him? Like maybe corner him, but I don't know how I would corner him. But of course, if I actually knew the island as much as Karana, I would think of something, right? I mean, like she really knew the island, so she even used some kind of tobacco, right? So yeah, I think that I would have known if I knew it better. And so, now, did you think that Karana ever was gonna get the dogs or not? And now, I have a question though. Before we keep on going on, I have a question. Do you think that Karana, when she gets Rontu Aru, as we soon know that is, which means, you know, son of Rontu, do you think that this is that she is just like that she's doing the right thing, like depriving Rontu Aru of the tribe? What do you think? And now, so so do you think that how Karana got Rontu Aru was really honest way, like with tobacco? What do you think that was honest or not? It wasn't that honest, but I think I would have done the same thing, honestly. Yeah, but people have to do. So at times, people do those kinds of things. And did you think that Rontu Aru was gonna take his capturing gonna take really happily, or do you think that he was like argh? I know. Well, at first he was pretty mad, like I expected, but after that, I thought that he was gonna calm down. I was right. He did calm down, right? And so, Karana had this really happy times, right? But do you know these happy times are gonna last, or do you think that something else will happen? And now I really wanted to talk about the tsunami and the earthquake. So, like, when you think of a tsunami or an earthquake, what do you think of? Tsunami, huge waves. Like, huge waves going over and crashing cars, and, like, cars, like, you know, like, getting swept away. Earthquake, like, just look at earthquake photos. That's what I think. And, yeah, so I think that just if someone has said this chapter is all about the earthquake and tsunami, first of all, that would be real spoiler, so on him. But that's not the point here. Like, if you had been like that, then would you have been like nervous the whole time? And what did you think was gonna happen? Do you think that anything was gonna get killed? Oh, this is a drum roll, and this time I'm not gonna use like that official drum roll. I'm gonna use my hands. Ouch, my hands. But sacrifices are needed. Now, let's see. When there was like this, just from the description at first, like, did you think that something bad was gonna happen? I didn't think about the tsunami, but I knew that something was gonna happen, right? And then suddenly, there was this huge wave. And if you had been Karana, do you think that you could have actually survived, and do you think you could have climbed, or would you have been dead meat? I'm terrible at climbing. You know, like those school playgrounds, like those climbing walls? One time, I got on top of those, and I didn't know how to get down, and I panicked. In the end, I just fell down on my cheek. Ouch, it hurt. But, anyway, yeah, I can barely climb those, and I'm still like struggling. When, I'm not kidding, it's so easy that I did this when I was in 4th grade. I'm still in 4th grade. I tried it. And the thing is, first graders are like, la, 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 and they just go up really quickly. So, I didn't really like that part, but it's a little embarrassing. But then again, in my defense, I'm online, right? I didn't have the training time like they had, right? And so, yeah, did you think that you could really, like, survive that? Yeah, like I said, I couldn't. And what did you think about the destruction? And did you think that this was going to be all, or something else was going to happen? Well, tsunamis normally come with earthquakes, and definitely there was an earthquake here, right? And so, and if you had been Karana, how would you have felt about it? And did you think that Corona was gonna die? Because they're actually, I mean, crabs died, right? Fish died, and pretty sure otter died. Lots of sea animals died. Probably maybe a few land animals, like who were too close and couldn't escape. So now, if all of this had happened, I think that I would myself would have been traumatized a little. But Corona really stands strong, which I think is really, really important. And maybe what's a theme that we can learn from this? Maybe, and actually this also I think goes with the message, but we're going to talk about the message later. But what about we go to chapter 28? So, did you think that all in all, like, how did you expect the wreckage to be? I expected it to be terrible, but when I read it, it wasn't that bad. But yeah. But still, like, I suspected, like, everything to be all cracked up and, like, everything to have, like, been, to look like it had exploded. Not like that, luckily. And then, suddenly, we see this other ship. Did you think those are Lutes? No. From the description, it just, like, didn't look like an Lutes. But who was it? Do you think it was the ship? But why would the ship come now? Like, not sooner. What do you think happened? And, yeah, what do you think? And then these people came, right? And so finally, do you think that Corona is never gonna get off the island when, you know, we're at our second to last chapter and now she isn't seen again, right? But we learn actions. So do you think that she wants to leave the island of Blue Dolphins? And would you want to? I wouldn't want to. I would like to stay there, but of course everybody has their own opinion, right? And so, why didn't the man came anyway? He just called and went. I think that he was like maybe doing like there was this, like maybe he was searching for that woman who had been left behind, right? Maybe he heard it and he wanted to search for it, right? And do you think that it was Corona's fault that she did not get there in time, or do you think that it was the man's fault and that he should have waited? Well, that island is big, so I think that he should have waited like 30 minutes or an hour or something before he actually went, right? I mean, I think, and besides, like, how should like Indians on the other side, how do you think that they wouldn't listen? So I think that it was a little of his fault, not Corona's fault. And then 2 years later, well, it says that 2 more springs are gone, basically 2 years, right? The ship came back. Do you think that this time Corona was gonna get on? I thought so, but did you actually think, not me, right? Did you think that Corona was gonna get on that ship? I think so, right? And so, if you had been Corona, would you have liked to go, or would you just like Island of Blue Dolphins? Well, I would have been pretty nervous, but I think that I would have been smart enough and brave enough to say yes, because I am going to a new place, and I possibly might meet my family, right? But did you think that Corona was going to meet her family? I thought so, but it wasn't like that, right? And anyway, I just wanted to talk about this really quickly. Why didn't the Scott Odell anyway ended it with this sentence? Wait, let me find it. It says this: Dolphins rose out of the sea and swam before the ship. They swam for many leagues in the morning through the bright water, leaving their foamy patterns. The little birds were chirping in the cage. Oops! Yeah, were chirping in the cage, and Ron to Aru sat beside me, right? I thought I was reading another, yeah. So, do you think that, why do you think that he ended like that? Well, because it's just a beautiful scene, right? Beautiful scene to end at. I think that's why. And, now, do you think that Corona is going to live happily ever after? Or do you think that something is going to happen? And you actually know from the authors know, right? But, last question until we're going to say what our favorite parts were and all that. But, my last question here was, do you think that fortunes are good for Corona? I think so. Oh yeah, and I have a last question. Sorry. That was my second to last question. This is my last question before everything else is, what do you think the message the book is trying to give us? I think it's always have hope, because without hope, Corona would have just had no will to live. Like, she wouldn't have hoped that any ship would have come. She wouldn't have hoped anything, right? And that is bad. and it would be terrible. But she has hope. Without hope, her life would be like a cave with no light. You fumble around, you crash into things, you're lost, right? You have no will to live. You're terrified, you're scared, you're miserable, you feel negative, right? I think that's what it's like, life with no light. You don't know how. Hope sort of guides you, sort of like your flashlight, right? And with extra batteries, of course. And I think that's always have hope, right? Even in the hardest situations. Corona always had hope, even in the hardest situations. She has, like, there were tsunamis and earthquakes, but she had hope. That small light that guided her through everything, right? That's just my opinion. Everybody has their own opinion, but that was my opinion. I also wanted to talk about these articles that I actually found. I don't know if you know or not, but I found these articles really interesting, so I wanted to share them with you because this is actually article. Yeah, I found these articles. I thought they were really interesting because they totally sort of like disagree with I Live in Blue Dolphins. Let me just read them and you'll know. Okay, I have two articles. Let me start. Expert discovers details about lone woman's life on island by Sherry Carlson. Archaeologist Steve Schwartz recently uncovered new clues to an old story while digging through volumes of notes from the early 1900s. The details jotted down from conversations more than 100 years ago might change what the world knows about the lone woman of San Nicolas Island, Karana, right? This adds a whole new twist to the entire story, based upon just scratching the surface of some of these notes, said Schwartz, a retired Navy archaeologist who spoke at the California Islands Symposium last week in Ventura. People have long shared the story of the woman who was left alone on San Nicolas Island in 1835. The last of the native Nicoleño living on the remote island, 60 or so miles off the coast, she survived alone for 18 years. Wow, right? Then, in 1853, she was taken to Santa Barbara. She lived on the mainland for just 7 weeks before she died of dysentery. I hope I'm saying that right, but that's sad, right? She died. That sort of answers our question still, if she lived a happy ever after. Like if she lived a happy life. Most of what happened on the island and later in Santa Barbara still hasn't been told, Schwartz said. There is still a lot of research to be done, he said, but in just doing some fairly preliminary research, I did find some new information that I think drastically changes our perception of the story. That includes whether she actually was alone for most of those 18 years and why she was left behind in the first place. We've always been told that they couldn't find anybody who could speak to her, right? Wrong, Schwartz said. There's mounting evidence that there were some Chumash who were able to communicate with her, at least partially. She actually spent quite a bit of time with them when she was in Santa Barbara, he said. The Chumash have passed along a different version of the story based upon contact with her. Unraveling the story. Schwartz said he found those stories in notes from J.B. Harrington, a linguist who came through the area in the early 1900s. One piece he found interesting describes when the people on San Nicolas were brought to the mainland in 1835. When they got on the boat, that's when she realized that her son is missing. Jumps out and goes back to find him, Schwartz said. The boat leaves possibly because of the impending storm we've always been told about, he said. Whoops, sorry, I skipped. Okay, here. She finds her son. We're not given an age, but we're talking 7, 8, 9 years old maybe, he said. She reunites with him and they live together on the island for many years. Then one day while her son is out fishing, his boat flips over. He's attacked by something in the water, maybe a shark, and dies. In my mind, this resolves some of the big issues I have always had with the traditional stories, Schwartz said during a break at the symposium. Some accounts have described the day she was left behind, saying she went back to find an infant who then died. If there were 10 people left on the island and they all are leaving, I don't see a mother forgetting where her infant is. It doesn't happen, he said. But it seems more reasonable that a 9-year-old boy has gone somewhere, maybe lost track of time, or for some reason didn't get on the boat. It might also answer another piece of history that people often question, Schwartz said. After 18 years, why did she decide to leave on the ship in 1854? Others had stopped at the island previously. People would come to the island, see her, and try to coax her to leave, and she wouldn't leave, Schwartz said. Based on the story he is piecing together with Harrington's notes, Schwartz said he might have stayed because she was living there with her son. After he died, she was willing to go, Schwartz said. It kind of makes sense, right? Yeah, well, right wasn't actually in the book, but I mean in the article, but I just wanted to say right. And we've all just learned all these new interesting things that we never knew before, right? Isn't this cool? And now let's go to News ELA, okay? I think that you've heard of it. This time it's the Los Angeles Times, the article sort of like changed into News ELA article. Was this the cave where the lone woman of San Nicolas Island lived? Oh, this is exciting, right? Let's see. In the novel Island of the Blue Dolphins, a Native American girl is left alone on an island after the rest of her tribe is taken away on a ship. She survives for many years, hunting and fishing to support herself. The novel was based on a true story. On an island off the coast of Los Angeles, archaeologists were in a cave searching for evidence of the lone woman of San Nicolas Island. Slowly, carefully, they removed bucket after bucket of sand, 40,000 in all. One of the leaders of the project was Steve Schwartz, an archaeologist with the U.S. Navy. Tom Holm was a student at the California State University who was taking part of the dig. He was also making a documentary movie about the team's work. Holm felt lucky to be working side by side with experts. He was impressed with their knowledge of the Native Americans who had lived on the island. Ordered to stop digging. In April 2012, the team was finally getting close to the historical artifacts that would allow them to learn more about the lone woman. Then Schwartz was ordered to stop the dig. The commanders at the naval base on the island had sent the order. Schwartz was shocked by the question they asked. Is the work you're doing out there legal? Something else hurt too. The shutdown was caused by Holm. He had become concerned with the way the archaeologists were handling the Native American cultural artifacts. Holm went to the Pechanga Native American tribe. He brought some of them to the island. Schwartz, 57, quit his job in anger. He had been researching one of the most important historical finds in California history. Now the work had to stop. It's a heartbreak, Schwartz said recently. We may never learn what archaeological riches that cave is guarding. Brought off the island. The lone woman of San Nicolas Island was a member of the Nicoleño Indian tribe. Very little is known about the tribe. In the early 1800s, many tribe members were killed in fights with Russian fur traders and Alaskan sea otter hunters. After one battle in 1814, there were only a dozen Nicoleño left. There had been about 300. In 1835, a ship brought the few remaining Nicoleño off the island. The ship was called Pure as Nada. Spanish for better than nothing. All but one Nicoleño made the trip. No one knows why the lone woman was left behind. According to legend, she jumped overboard and swam back to shore after realizing that her baby had been left behind. A storm forced the ship to leave without her, and the baby didn't survive. What actually happens to her remains a mystery, Schwartz said. He was determined to find out. A long search. Schwartz spent more than 20 years searching for the cave where the woman lived. Finally, in 2012, he had a breakthrough. A government surveyor wrote in the 1800s that one of his camps was 100 yards eastward of a large cave formerly inhabited by a wild Indian woman who lived there alone for 18 years. Schwartz found the cave. It was 20 feet high, 75 feet long, and packed with sand. A team began to carefully comb through it, looking for evidence of the lone woman. At first, Holm was excited to be taking part of the dig. This team was led by Schwartz and Reen Valenowith, Holm's archaeology professor at California State, right? Holm began to see things differently after he met with elders of the Pechanga tribe. They led him to question the archaeologists. Members of the tribe visited the island with him. Later, Holm began to argue with Schwartz and Valenowith about the dig. Closed research. Eventually, the Pechanga tribe sent letters to the Navy demanding that it stop archaeological research in the cave and add 549 other sites in the island, across the island. Now, the cave is closed to research. The Navy is negotiating with the Pechanga tribe. They say they have a cultural connection with the island's ancient people who survived for 8,000 years eating mostly shellfish, sea lions, small fish, and roots. We are only trying to do what's right by our ancestors, Mark Macaro, the tribe's chairman, said. For now, the mystery of the low woman of San Nicolas will remain unsolved. I think that was really cool because there were so many different things, right? Here's a list of them. Maybe, first of all, low woman of San Nicolas Island here in the book is Karana, right? And so the Galacez tribe is now the Nicolania tribe. And Island of the Blue Dolphins is now, San Nicolas Island. And also, and so Karana has no son, right? She has Ramo, but no son. But in the article, yeah, there was a son. And then Ramo, who sort of was like the substitute of his son, he gets killed by dogs. And Karana's son in the article, he gets killed by who was it? Yes, he got killed by a shark or something in the water, right? And then nobody coaxes Karana to leave, but in the book it said that. But in the article it said that, and nobody could talk to her, right? It was in the author's note, but here in the article, wow, it was different, right? And then also some things that were similar, though, I think, is that woman was left alone on an island, right? Take it to Santa Barbara. Others have stopped on the island, but she also dies. In the book, I think it also said that in the author's note, okay? And then storm, when the boat left, there was a storm, and finally, the boy was about 6 to 10 years old, right? I just wanted to mention that because it was just really different and fun because, like, all these different views and points of views, and so I thought it was really just interesting for us to learn, okay? I just wanted to show you that, okay? Well, let's go to the favorite parts then, and all that, What was your favorite part in these chapters, which were chapters 21 to 29, or just the end? Cause that's hard, but I like the tsunami. It was like really exciting, and sometimes the exciting parts are my favorite parts, and also the earthquake. Then what was your favorite part in the whole book? Because we have finished the whole book, right? Well, I have to say my favorite part in the whole book is impossible. I really do not know. That is impossible. Whole book is just impossible. Impossible. Okay, then let's go on to the next one. Hopefully that you choose something. What was your favorite character? Karana. No, Ron too. No, you can do 2 or 3 this time for both. I have to do Karana and Ron too. They're basically the main characters too, but yeah. The main characters are really like the main characters. Almost no characters else, right? Like except for like the beginning, True Talk, and sort of the end, right? Besides that, just Karana, right? And even the end, barely, right? Like 1 chapter, and in the middle, like 1 chapter, 2 chapters, right? And in the front, just like 5 chapters, right? So, and there's 29 chapters, and so like in the end, like there's 20 other chapters just with Karana and Ron too. And so those are my favorite characters. My least favorite characters, I'll lose. Tuta was good, but the rest, thumbs down, thumbs down, thumbs down. Captain Orlov. He is really my enemy. Yeah. And how did you like the book? I loved it. And I get it why you won the Newbery Medal. Yeah, I really love this book. What about you? And I hope that you also love it, okay? And now, finally, for predictions. Do you think that Karana is going to live a happy life in the mainland, and the author's note will explain that. And do you think that do you think that she's gonna meet her family? Do you think that Karana and Ron to Aru are gonna live happily ever after or something? Do you think that Ron to Aru is gonna survive? Do you think that Karana is gonna miss the island? If you had been Karana, would you have missed the island? Do you think that Karana is ever gonna go back to the island of the Blue Dolphins? And finally, do you think that Karana is going to enjoy the mainland, or do you think that she's going to be homesick? What do you think? Now, yeah, if you think of any other prediction questions, and ask them to yourself. They're hard, right? Sometimes the hardest questions are questions you make yourself. I've learned this. And I guess that's it, right? I hope that you enjoyed Island of the Blue Dolphins by Scott Odell. Really awesome book, Newbery Medal winning. And also my book is like, there's an introduction that Lois Lowry, or she also made, she made The Giver, and and Number the Stars, both awesome books. I have actually done a book club about Number the Stars, and The Giver I'm planning on. Maybe you've already seen it, and so the both of them have actually won Newbery medals, so check those out. They're awesome, and you can do Number the Stars with me. And there is an introduction by her, so if you want to do that, you can check it out. I just didn't do that because I'm pretty sure not all the copies have that. And if you want, maybe the author's note, but not really. I don't really want to talk about the author's note, okay? But really, for today, yeah, I just hope that you enjoyed, okay? Have a great rest of your day or night, because I always want to fair tonight. Bye, and I hope that you enjoyed. The book is also saying bye. Bye. Yeah, really, just bye. Hope you enjoyed. I live in